What is up, you guys? Welcome to today's episode of Read a Book and Chill instead of Netflix and Chill. I'm gonna start reading a book and chill because they're honestly more entertaining for me now. I really like how I can just imagine like the whole scenario here that's going on. It's just going on inside my mind. I see like visual pictures in my imagination of what's going on, and like when you see a movie or a Netflix show, it kind of tells you what it is. So I really like the fact that it's kind of open. I see the characters in my mind and all that. So I really am enjoying my new read a book and chill thing instead of Netflix and chill. But anyways, I finished reading the Spooksville, the first one ever that was written by Christopher Pike, which is The Secret Path. And I haven't read this book since I was like in the fourth grade or fifth grade. And man, I got so many memories. First of all, like so many flashbacks of my childhood. I would remember where I was sitting down reading, and I even remember the things that I was dealing with in my personal life back in the day, like when I was a kid. All the challenges that I had. So yeah, I mean, this is a scary story. These books are scary stories. There's a little touch of like whimsical comedy, like, but just a little bit. It makes you laugh here and there. But other than that, they go to the other dimensions. In Spooksville, they go to other worlds through portals and encounter monsters, witches. Because the town Spooksville is kind of like enchanted in a way. So yeah, I've read several of these. But this was the very first one, and it brought back a lot of memories. I felt like a kid again. So it's kind of like a review, just explaining like my whole like experience, I guess, reading it again. It is definitely a scary story. I'm not sure kids today, because I show this to my daughters or to kids, and I tell them to read it, and then they get kind of scared. And it's not that scary. It's comparable to Goosebumps. I've read Goosebumps as well, but I personally like Spooksville better. Spooksville is not as popular. Goosebumps are definitely more popular, but I tend to like these definitely way more. Like just the way that it seems more open to magic and fantasy, whereas Goosebumps is definitely, there's of course fantasy, like the spooky aspect, a scary aspect to that. And they're good books. I mean, I also like Goosebumps. I'm planning on reading them again, some of Goosebumps. But this for me is more open. It's like more open to fantasy. There's more magic per se here. Like the author, he just opens up more into his like fantasy world or whatnot. But okay, so like this book, I mean, yeah, I was getting the flashbacks from my childhood, like emotions that I hadn't felt in a long time, and I was like, oh yes. I mean, I felt even like some parts of the book. I remember like even what was going on through my mind back then, and it was like time traveling in a way. I time traveled to my childhood for a little bit. So I really enjoyed this. I'm gonna start reading the second book, the Howling Ghost, and the Howling Ghost is actually one of my favorite ones, Spooksville's, that I remember. That one and the Cold People is some of my favorite ones for Spooksville. But okay, now here's the spoilers. If you hadn't read this, like, you can stop watching this video. I don't want to give you any spoilers that you don't want to hear. I love the book. The secret path. They're in this path to search the witch, Anne Templeton, and I love the whole mystery vibe to it. The whole time thing, going backwards, walking across the grave backwards to enter the other dimension. They're on a quest to look for this path, and for the witch. And what I could now, as a grown up, like, I read it, and what I could just in a way, I mean, criticize, but not, I mean, not in a bad way, but they spent so much time looking for the path and so little time in the actual confrontation with the challenge, which was the witch. Like the journey was very long, in comparison of the rest of the action. And I'm kind of a more action focused reader. I tend to like that a lot. like some of my favorite comic books are Warcraft, for example, and that's just full of action, like from non-stop from beginning to end. But yeah, I mean, and I guess like here the motto, like it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. You know, this definitely applies to that. But I mean, in some aspects, I was like, okay, when are you gonna get to the witch? When are you gonna get to solving the riddle? You know, and I felt like because of that, the whole confrontation with the witch was kind of rushed. You know, I felt it was kind of fast. Like the whole night thing. You know, he was like the villain, one of the villains, like the teacher's, the witch's pet. Not as much as the evil witch, as I would have liked. There was just a few interactions, you know, and I was like, okay, so this is it, you know. And well, of course, they beat her and they solved the riddle and they went back to Spooksville, you know. Reminds me of the hero's journey. You enter, you go through a magical world, you go through a journey, and then you come back to the regular world again, and you're kind of like transformed, you know. And this way, like, it's Adam is coming from Kansas City to Spooksville, and he encounters some friends, and he doesn't believe in Spooksville, that it's a magical world, it's a magical, enchanted, dark town with a lot of dark history and all that. I love all that vibe. If you like scary stories about that and all that, man, this is the book to go. But I do feel it was kind of rushed at the end, like I was saying. The confrontation with the witch could have been prolonged much more in my taste. I really like how when the witch said that she was gonna take out Adam's eyes and put him on her doll, like, whoa, that's like straight up horror, you know. Like, and I was reading that this is a kid, like, and I guess when I was a kid, like during the 90s, there was a lot of gang activity, and and especially like if you grew up like poor or not rich or something, you were exposed to that. And me as a kid, I remember being bullied by actual gangsters, you know, like thrown to the ground and all that, just because they were wanting to bully a young kid, you know, like middle school guys that wanted to bully like elementary little kids and stuff like that, or high school kids. But I live kind of like that day to day with that kind of tension. And reading this was kind of like, okay, yeah, there's still scary, and there's still tension, but it's kind of like separated from my real world. It takes me away to this fantasy world where it's also scary, you know. But like, it's reading something like, oh, she's gonna do this to you, these guys, like, it's graphic, you know. That's what I'm trying to say. It's kind of graphic. You're like, oh man, it catches your attention. I can't believe I'm reading this. But so yeah, I mean, I guess that's my opinion about this. The whole riddle thing is fun, and I just wish it would have been like a little bit less of the solving the riddle and a little bit more action with the witch. And the Dark Knight character is definitely a flat character. He was just doing what the witch wanted him to do. So in a way, it's kind of a boring character, you know. You could predict his moves, you know. And in a way, like, okay, I mean, if that character would have been a little bit more around, I think it would have been a little bit more fun. But again, this is like books for ages 8 to 12. It says here, you know, it's for little kids, so it's totally proper for children that age, you know. But yeah, that was it. I mean, thank you, Christopher Pike and Spooksville, for taking me to this magical enchanted town, and it takes me to another magical enchanted realm. And well, I guess that's it. I'm gonna start reading The Howling Ghost now, and I'll just leave you guys with a few of these lines. It says, the day that Howling Ghost kidnapped Cindy Mackey's kid brother Neil was rotten from the start. Cindy began to expect bad times ever since family moved to Springville, or Spooksville, as kids in town called it. At first, even though she disliked the place, Cindy didn't believe half the stories she heard about it. But after the ghost came out of the lighthouse and grabbed Neil, she was ready to believe anything. Are you ready to believe in Spooksville? Alright, my friends, thanks so much for watching this video. Hope you guys have a good one. Take care.